One day, the students of West Valley gather to welcome the annual homecoming weekend. Jen, the host, warmly introduces the senior class president, Danny Ton, who leads the unveiling of the homecoming banner. Zach, a senior student, and his friends set up the camera and watch with anticipation. The moment the banner is revealed, everyone gasps in shock. It's completely vandalized. The vice principal, Mr. Fuchs, sees Zach laughing with his friends and assumes it's one of his pranks. He confronts the mischievous teen about his lack of respect for authority, but Zach shows no remorse and even pretends to be deaf, ignoring the older man's words. Meanwhile, Officer Dill and his fellow police officers gather the athletes and ask for their help in preventing anyone from attempting the infamous West E Dirty Deeds, 10 dangerous challenges that must be completed the night before the dance. Back in the office, the vice principal asks Zach to admit he vandalized the banner, but Zach deflects the blame with jokes. Outside, Meg, the smart and beautiful classmate, waits for him. She begs Zach not to drag her brother Kyle into more pranks, fearing it will only get him into trouble. Swayed by his crush, Zach agrees. Later that afternoon, Kyle is working his part-time job maintaining the athletic field when the athletes interrupt him. They invite him to join the team but require him to run a lap to test his endurance. Eagerly, he agrees. After completing the lap, he proudly accepts a drink from the group, only to realize too late it's urine. He spits it out as the athletes burst into laughter, leaving him humiliated. Zach sees what happened and asks Kyle if he wants him to get revenge, but the stubborn teen insists he can handle himself and storms off. During lunch, the students gossip about the dirty deeds and mention that Duncan Rhyme, a former West High student, was the only one to ever complete the list before disappearing. Suddenly, Kyle marches up to the athletes' table and challenges their leader, asking why he has never tried the dirty deeds. Boldly, he declares he will do them himself. Amused, Dan accepts the challenge and dares Kyle to prove himself. After school, Meg again asks Zach to stop her brother. Meanwhile, Dan and his teammates retrieve the old dirty deeds list from a storage room. That evening, when Kyle arrives at the diner, Meg begs him to reconsider. Before he can approach Dan, Zach appears and announces he will take the challenge instead, citing the senior priority rule. Kyle leaves angrily, feeling humiliated. Zach receives the first task. He must complete all challenges in 12 hours. The first deed is drinking a beer in front of a police officer. Zach pours it into a plastic cup to disguise it and succeeds. The second deed is punching the toughest guy in town, J.D. Riplock. Nervous but determined, Zach interrupts a street fight and knocks J.D. down with a single punch. The third task is humiliating. He must lock himself in a supermarket bathroom and use a loaf of bread to pleasure himself. A security guard watches via camera, but Zach still completes the task, and the crowd later cheers for him. For the fourth deed, he must drag a giant balloon leprechaun from a used car lot to the school. After difficulties, the balloon rises into the sky, impressing the crowd and embarrassing Dan. For the fifth task, Zach and his friend Stash steal a corpse from a funeral home and place it on West High's Viking statue, impressing the goth students watching. The sixth deed requires retrieving signed lingerie from a former homecoming queen. At a bar, Zach meets Rachel Buff, the 1999 queen, who happily signs her underwear and gives it to him. Annoyed, Dan hands him the seventh deed. The athletes slash Zach's tires, so Meg drives him to the location, a private house where Officer Victor Rasdale sleeps. Zach steals the man's prosthetic leg and narrowly escapes. For the eighth deed, he must steal an expensive car. Disguised as a valet, he steals Vince Incarno's car and returns triumphantly. The ninth deed requires finding Duncan Rhyme. Everyone laughs, it seems impossible. But a quiet kid named Mullet steps forward and reveals he is Duncan Rhyme. He tells Zach the game is pointless and that to win, Zach must stop playing by the rules. Inspired, Zach rips up the final task and hands it to Kyle, who throws the pieces into Dan's face. Soon after, police lights appear and Zach is arrested for stealing the car, but Vincent withdraws the complaint and arranges for his release. The morning of the dance, Dan reassembles the shredded 10th task and recruits JD to perform it, planning to frame Zach and hurt Meg in the process. When Jen rushes in to warn Zach, he immediately drives off in Vincent's car to save Meg. He reaches her just in time and pulls her away before JD's car explodes. an accident even Dan didn't expect. Another officer, fed up with his partner, removes Zach's handcuffs and tells him to run. Vincent lends his Ferrari again to give the teens. Smiling, Zach and Meg leave together. As they drive away from West High, they finally share a passionate kiss, sealing their feelings for each other.